everyone, welcome to the Seeds of Success podcast, hosted by Dottie San Martin and myself, Orly Rivera. This show is your weekly dose of knowledge, insights, and actionable tips to transform centers into striking successes. Whether you're a seasoned industry professional or just stepping onto the lanes, we've got you covered. Welcome back, Dottie. You were gone for a little bit at Bowl Expo. How'd that go?
Yes, well, actually, Orly, it went really well. Hopefully some of our listeners followed us on our social media channels. We did try to take the whole Bowl Expo to all of our followers on Beyond the Frame. So shout out to those people that follow us there, and hopefully you enjoyed being a part of that Bowl Expo since you didn't get to make it. But it was a great conference. But I want to take a little bit of time here today, and I think it's really good when we have the opportunity to go to educational conferences or trade shows or something of the like. We did an episode just recently about preparing for that so that you can get the most out of it. But today I want to talk a little bit about when you go to an educational conference or a seminar and you return back to the office, what are you doing? Are you making the most out of that experience? Did you simply collect airline miles and some dinners out of it? Or did you bring back something that you can now utilize in order to be more successful in what you do, be it your everyday life or your business, right?
Yeah. And I was just going to say, but maybe if you're an owner or something, you go and do what you got to do. But especially if you're an employee or something, even like with us, we've gone to a conference before, and you and some of the other ones, what'd you learn? How can we use this going forward? They just don't want to send you on a vacation. They want to make sure you're learning something, that you are taking something from that event.
Right. Absolutely. And it's really important. It depends on how you, as an owner of a business or a manager of a business, you want to handle that information that you absorbed and that those connections that you made during that conference. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do it. Some people like to create like a debrief, and if you're a manager and your owner sent you, then it would be really nice for you to like create an outline that talks about what you learned, what you plan to do with that information, what connections you made, and outline it, because then that way they see that you made the most of that experience, right? Mm-hmm. But I also, not only is it your responsibility to push that information up to those above you that gave you the funds to go to those things. So, discuss that, let them see what you've learned. And that may also spark them to say, oh, well, I see you met this new vendor and they specialize in this. Let's talk about that. Is that something that we want to incorporate into our business? So there's a lot of value in doing that, making sure that you're letting them know what you got out of it, what connections you made, and so on and so forth. Most conferences that you go to have so many educational seminars too. You attend those seminars. If you're like me, I like a mad person taking notes. I want to capture it all. Why? Because I want to embrace that. I want to learn from that. And I want to be able to then go back and review those notes and figure out how I can do that for myself or for my company, how I can get that, program executed with my employees, whatever that particular seminar is about. Maybe it's about AI. How can I leverage AI in my own particular world? So, when you attend those conferences and you create those notes, or you have a takeaway that they've given you, what are you doing with that? Are you stuffing it in a drawer when you get home? Are you putting it on the corner of your desk and saying, I'm going to get to that when I get more time? Yeah. I promise you, folks, you will never get that time. Make a plan for what you're going to do with the knowledge that you gained and the relationships that you made during the time at the conference. You need to have a plan. Get with your staff, set up a meeting, share what you learned with your key stakeholders. You didn't get to take all of them with you. So now take what you learned to them that empowers them. That makes them feel that they're important enough to you that you share that information. Get them enthused about it.
Yeah. And another big part about it is take down, all the information, take down names of the speakers, because I mean,
Yes.
9 out of 10 times, they're not going to give you all the information that they have in that hour they're speaking. Most of the time they say, here's also my email if you want to reach out, or you could find out more about me and my company here, or, you know what I mean? Like, I know when we went to YMS in New York, we were like, where was that guy from again? Oh, he was from here. Let's look up his company. Let's look up what he did. Let's look at some of his work, because they just give you a little, they're just breaking the ice on what they do and who they work for. And a lot of times, if you want to learn more about me and what I did, and then you think about that later, like, oh, remember that guy that did this? Like, let's look up more on him, or let's take one of his other classes. So yeah, it's important that you're taking all those names down, the speakers, what they were talking about, and yeah, sharing that. Or you might just take that back to your center and say, like, let's say somebody's like, hey, Orly, there was a social media guy speaking there. You should really look into him more. And I'll, maybe take one of his classes, because I really feel like he can help you out. So it's good to pass that information on and for each person that you think it might be best for.
Yes, absolutely. The other thing that I highly encourage our listeners to do, and I try to be very mindful of this. I like social media anyway, but I usually, when a presentation is put up on the screen, they give you their social media information, their LinkedIn, and I immediately am looking into their social media and following and especially adding them to my network on LinkedIn. It's, the more people you can have in your professional network, the better off you are. You can learn from them. You can, live through their experiences and learn that way. So it's very valuable to make sure that you are not just connecting at that point, but like you said, finding out who they are and then leveraging. You and I do this a lot because we like to bring guests on our show, right?
Yeah.
And so that's how we get a lot of the connections that we have. Same thing. When you are walking on the trade show floor and you go to a vendor and you see something and you get their card and, or you find out about a product that you really like, are you just forgetting about that when you get home, or are you following that through? Are you going to that vendor's website? Are you researching that product? Are you reaching out to that salesman? What are you doing in order to take it that next step, right? That's really important. That's really important too. So, I have to address this, Orly. I'm going to address the elephant in the room. My podcast has my dog outside my door. My studio has my dog outside the door, and obviously he's upset about something. So listeners, I apologize. I have a very noisy Bernedoodle that decided to be part of today's podcast. So apologies for him.
Yeah, no, I agree. And there's so much just great stuff you learn out there. And sometimes, like I said, when we went to YMS, we were there to hear certain things, and then you end up hearing from somebody you didn't even know was going to be there, or you never heard of them, or you never heard of their company. You're like, oh wow, that was the one that really took, I took the most away from that person. So yeah, there's so much to learn there. And just, like we said last time, plan who you're going to see. Also plan for things that you might not know about.
Absolutely. I could not agree more, Orly. It's, the other thing that, a lot of times when you go to conferences and stuff, there's special things there that you see, or, they have like special deals going on. Mm-hmm. And sometimes those deals are extended for a certain number of days after the show, right? And if you come home and you throw your little swag bag over to the side and you never go through it, you may be missing out on those opportunities. Yeah, definitely. It's not all about fun and games. It's about learning. It's about sharing, and it's about, doing the things that you can to make your business even more successful. And so time and time again, I tell people, make the most out of it. Prepare in advance and make sure you're doing the follow-up afterwards. Don't file those samples of flyers of a league that went on the floor that was successful for the person doing the presentation. Put that flyer in front of you. Get with your team. Brainstorm it. How can we do something similar to this? Yeah. And make it happen. Don't just come home with a bag of paper.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, there's so much out there. And yeah, you never know what's going to help you in your center, and just, there might be something simple you learn that helps you take off. The one thing you're missing from your center to keep this keep it busy and get new customers in. So yeah, it's important
Right.
to follow up with all that stuff.
And those connections that you make, be it fellow, other people that are in the industry or vendors or speakers or whoever you make a connection with, reach back out to them in a timely manner so they don't forget who you are. Keep that relationship going. And you've got to do that in a timely manner.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being a part of today's Seeds of Success. With decades of industry experience, we're honored to share ideas, strategies, and trends designed to help entertainment centers like yours thrive and grow. Together, we're planting the seeds for a stronger, more successful future. Share this podcast and subscribe to this podcast, and also share it with your team and your industry friends, because the more seeds we sow, the greater the harvest. Until next time, listeners, let's continue to build success, one happy guest and one incredible experience at a time.